Very excited to be gathered here with you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is 6:03, and if you can just be patient with us for one more minute as we let some guests in. I'm just going to go off camera for one moment, so please bear with us as we just let our stragglers come in so we can have a nice welcome with everybody. But I can already say people are looking great on camera, so get yourself settled. We're going to give you one more minute, okay? All right. Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedules to join us here today. You're much appreciated and well revered for, coming to celebrate Black History Month with us. So a big applause to everyone who is here to support and show your support actively. Today, it is really my great pleasure for us to be having a conversation. We call it a conversation amongst ladies. And this month as well, we're going to be having a conversation amongst men. Somebody was teasing me saying, but why are you segregating everyone? And I was saying, I'm not trying to segregate people. It's just sometimes, there's something about that conversation amongst ladies that is just so special. And I believe the same for men as well. And of course, we embrace all genders, and it is really a privilege to be gathered here in friendship and extending a friendship amongst all of us here today. Today, I do need and I want to appreciate the beautiful land in which I call home. And I want to share with you, everyone on the call today, that I am in the Robinson-Urien Treaty Territory, and the land on which I am in right now. It is the traditional territory of the Atikmashing Anishinaabeg. And I want to personally say, as an immigrant to this beautiful country of Canada, which of course I've really lived in Canada longer than I ever did live in Zimbabwe, where I'm from. I just want to show a deep appreciation for everyone on the call, the Canadians on the call, to say we love this country. And it's super exciting that you're willing to celebrate Black History Month with us today. Today, we're going to get going, and I've asked some ladies to start us off. You will recognize one of the ladies here, Vivienne Lapointe. She's going to get us going, and there's also going to be France Chelenes. I invited these ladies because we cannot have a conversation amongst ladies without the women in our community who are pushing and showing us what it can be when you strive for your goals. And I love politicians, I'm going to tell you, and I love them all over. I love red and orange and blue. And I love you folks so much because you're in service, and being in service is the most important thing. So Vivi, please start us off and bring us your greetings.
Hello, bonsoir, Annie, everyone. So I am new to politics, but the question that I get asked the most is what made me run and why did I decide? And for me, it was that sense of service and that desire to serve. I've spent my entire career in the public service, and so that is something that very much drives me and motivates me. I want to create a better community in Sudbury, and I want to create a diverse community, a welcoming community, a vibrant community. Before launching into politics, I was executive director at Community Living Greater Sudbury, and we provide supports for people who live with developmental disabilities. And it was rewarding work, humbling work. But I learned that to try and create an inclusive community for people with developmental disabilities, that we couldn't do that within our organization. Really, creating an inclusive community happens outside, in community, and it's sparking dialogue, information, and education. So that's why I'm really excited to be here tonight and listening to the dialogue that's going to take place. The second thing that I get the most since I've joined politics, other than asking why, is people tell me how brave I am for entering politics. And for me, it's the complete opposite. It's not bravery, it's vulnerability, because you were really inviting people into your life, into your living room. You know that there are people who will agree with you. There are people who won't. There are people who, as Teresa just said, will see that it really is a service and it's a proud service and role to have, and others don't. So I would tell you that be vulnerable and march forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy to have you here. All right, France Chelenes.
Well, good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde, Annie. as it was mentioned, my name is France Gelina, and I'm the MPP for Nickel Belt. And Nickel Belt is all around the downtown Sudbury. So if you live in Walden or in Rayside or in Chelmsford or in Hanmer or in Falconbridge or all the way around, you live in Nickel Belt, and I'm your member of provincial parliament. When I first saw a post by Teresa that talked about Black History Month, we know that February is Black History Month, but then piqued my interest, conversations between ladies and friends. So I send her a little message and say, oh, send me an invite for sure. I'm just really curious. I am an allied. If there is anything that I can do to help build an inclusive community, to make sure that everybody feels safe. I mean, this is Black History Month. The one thing that we see all over is what happened to George Floyd in 2020, and the fact that anti-Black racism is still very much present and oppressive in many parts of our community. I would say what happened with George Floyd in 2020 forced a lot of people to think about anti-Black racism. I would say for some white folks like me, was the first time. And it forces us to have a conversation. It forces us to look at anti-Black racism at the individual, community, and provincial level. But I can assure you that no matter the amount of time, effort, energy, resources it takes, I will be there. I will try my best to make sure that we become inclusive, we become a safe place for everyone, no matter where they are. And I have a smidget suspicion that to have this conversation among women, no offense to the nice men that are here with us, but to have these conversations through the view of women's eyes, I think great things can come of this. So I'm here to listen. If I can be helpful, if I can be useful, I'm your ally, I'm here. And then I start with an apology. I'm taking a class that starts at 7. So will have to sign off at just before 7 so that I can be on with my class. But I'm here to listen. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, it'll be a privilege. And I can't wait till we start.
All right, good stuff. All right, and thank you very much for that warm message. And I love this because we're actually going to start with the big E, which is education. So it's fascinating me that here's France, she's working, and education doesn't stop. And I'm actually really fascinated by the panelists we have today. I'm not going to go into deep bios for them, but only from the fact that I think by the time we're done tonight, you're just going to feel like, oh my goodness, I know these ladies. So today on the panel, and they're going to just get unmuted and wave so you know who they are, as there are many people with cameras on so you can see the panelists. But today I'm very pleased that one of our panelists is Shantae. Shantae Robinson is an awesome student. Now for us Sudburyans, that is just a basic aha moment, like, wow, she's going to be our doctor one day. We're super proud of Shantae. Let's unmute her. Shantae, maybe just say hello to the people on the call today so they can hear your voice.
No problem. Good evening, everybody. I must say I am pleasantly surprised and wonderfully pleased to see so many people on the call. Oh, my word. Good evening. My name is Shantae Robinson. I am a first-year student at NASM, which is the Northern Ontario School of Medicine, like Teresa was saying. I'm from Jamaica. Whoa! It's a small island in the Caribbean. I moved here when I was 16 years old. Which was in 2013. I did 2 years of high school at Marymount Academy. I did 4 years of a bachelor's in science in biomedical biology at Laurentian. And then I did a master's in biology at Laurentian as well. And then now I'm at NASM. Aside from academics, I love sports, all sports. I played soccer for Laurentian for many years. I coach soccer to kids. My biggest passion in life is actually children. I love kids, from babies all the way up to older ones. I think they're sweet. I think, you know, life begins at a young age, and so many of passion and all that type of stuff can be encouraged in children. So I like to work with kids, and that's something that I've always been doing ever since I've been in Canada. I like to make people smile. I like to have fun. You'll be seeing me smile most of the time because that's just how I am. I'm rarely serious. But I won't give you too much. I won't give you too much right now because, you know, other people have to introduce themselves. But as time goes on, you'll get to get a little bit more about my personality soon.
And what I would tell everyone is all you need to do is follow Shantae on Instagram, and you will be wowed at how much of an athlete this lady is. It is just over the top and beautiful. Right now she's snowboarding, and I'm super jealous because I have zero balance, and she just looks so darn cute out there. And it's quite frustrating for somebody like me, but proud of you.
Thank you. You know what's funny? Actually, so I actually recently just took up snowboarding because, you know, coming from Jamaica, I have all these summer sports in the back of my hand, but I don't have any winter sports, you know, and I've just been freezing up here. And I'm like, wow, you know, I need to find something to make myself productive in the wintertime. So I took on snowboarding. And funny enough, Teresa messaged me and she's like, oh, Shantae, let's go snowboarding. I said, Teresa, it's not that easy. You know, you need to actually practice. No, I just want to go, you know, just to take pictures. Like, you want to pay $80, put on the gears to go take pictures. All right, no problem.
Why are you putting all my business out for the ladies to laugh at me? But I think the ladies understand it. I would look really cute snowboarding. All right. So the next person I want to introduce you all to is Kelu. And, you know, Shantae mentioned she loves children. So I'm very happy that Kelu has found a new babysitter in Shantae, because Kelu is a mother of two. And, you know, as we start this theme off around education, you'll find out more about Kelu and her educational pursuits, amongst other things. We'll go into the other things deeper later, but Kelu, if you can introduce yourself and just share with the ladies a little bit about, ladies and others on the call, about your education path as well.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ade Kelu Ogunlaye. You can call me Kelu for short. So I migrated to Canada in 2018, September, and I was heavily pregnant. I had my baby girl here in January 2019. And my journey to Canada has been amazing. I call myself blessed and favored. And I looked at myself like, this land of Canada has blessed me so much. It has given so much to me. How can I give back? So I decided to go back to school, get some education. I did a bit of research before I decided to study developmental service work program, because I love kids, just like Teresa mentioned, and just like Shantae. I love kids. My maternal instinct would automatically just gear me up towards children. And I studied DSW so that at the end of the day, I could get a job with the school board where I could also become an education assistant and help children with developmental disability or intellectual disability to become better individuals. So, and that wasn't enough for me. I later on proceeded to Laurentian University, where I am currently studying social work. I just want to give back to the land of Canada, help as many people as possible, especially women and even men. You know, sometimes I feel like the men are usually forgotten. They also need mental health support, emotional support. They need physical support as well. In any way we could give it to them. Everyone is inclusive, and I believe a lot in inclusion. No one should be left behind. Everyone is important. So I'm very passionate about giving back. I'm very passionate about helping people, and I'm just open to do my best in all areas as much as I can. So I'm studying social work right now. I'm in my first year, and I'm a single parent. So I'm juggling single parenting with school. It's not an easy journey, but I'm very resilient, and I'm looking ahead towards the end goal. I'm very ambitious. I know that everything is going to work out at the end of the day. So I've got big dreams, and I'm blessed to have amazing women like you, and with the support of the MPP, Jamie West. I don't want to exclude the men. Yeah. So I'm blessed to have the support of people like you. I'm blessed to have resources. Those things are what keeps me going. they give me the drive. Yeah, they give me the drive and the hope that I can do this. So thank you.
Amazing. And thank you so much, Kelu. Your story is always super motivational. As we go on, you're also going to learn that Kelu is also a businesswoman, amongst other things that she does. I'd like to speak. I mean, we're just really on this little kid theme. I want to introduce you to somebody else who has got two little ones as well, juggling all of that. And, one of our very important healthcare workers and businesswoman. We've got Gina with us today. Gina, could you tell us all about that piece of education connection to who you are?
Hi, everybody. My name is Gina Gegeoju. I am originally from Zimbabwe, and I'm a wife and I'm a mom to a little boy and a little girl. And as of right now, I'm a non-practicing RPN, and I'm in school. I'm in my 4th year completing my Indigenous social work through Laurentian. And the other thing that I absolutely love is that I'm the co-founder of a women empowerment organization that I get to run with my best friend. And yeah, that's pretty much about me. I am very passionate about women. Thank you.
All right, happy to have you here. And definitely last but not least, I'd like to introduce you to somebody who's with little people all the time as she educates our next generations, and has an amazing backstory on how she actually became to be a teacher and how she finds herself in the educational system. We've got Tsitsi on the call with us today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tsitsi, and it's been a long journey. Like Teresa said, that, sometimes you don't look back to where you came from until you actually get to sit down and say, oh my God, this is where I came from. So I am originally from Zimbabwe, like most of us on this, I just realized. And I came to Canada in 2001. I was young, but not very young. Yes, I was 21. And I can safely say I've been in Zimbabwe half my life and in Canada half my life. So it's a 50-50 between Zimbabwe and Canada for me. And sometimes I really struggle with where is home? But then, home is where I'm feeling okay at that moment. It could be in Zimbabwe, it could be in Canada. So I have a bachelor's degree in education and psychology. And I also have a master's degree in professional education. Currently, I am teaching grade 7 in Northern Alberta. I am very spontaneous like that. So an opportunity came for me to, come and teach, and I will jump on any chance to help little kids. I am very passionate about working with the youth, school-going age, anybody that is in school. For me, that is my passion. And being February and Black History Month, I have a few principals from Sudbury that know that this time, if I was in Sudbury right now, they know that Titi would be knocking on our door right now saying, okay, it's February, it's Black History Month. What are we doing about this? So for me, this is about teaching our children about different cultures, diversity and inclusion. Does everybody feel included? Are we all feeling comfortable when we wake up to go to school? Because for me, education in children is a very big thing. So when I have a child that's missing on an opportunity to go to school, that really touches me. And I really want to reach out and say, okay, what can I do? What is it that you're looking for? What are you missing so that you can go to school? So because of that drive, I'm a founder of an organization that deals with providing breakfast programs to schools in developing countries. And also it works with schools in Sudbury in that I host sports tournaments where I get all the schools, like all the kids that go to school to participate so that we can raise money to help other children in developing countries who do not have enough to sustain themselves. So education for me is a big thing, and I try and encourage our kids to stay in school. If there's anything that I can do to help them go back to school, that is where I come in, and I always want to make sure that they're all happy, they're comfortable, and they love what they're doing. That's it about me.
Awesome. No, thank you very much. And ladies, you really touched on a theme that, I think France got us going when she mentioned the word inclusion and belonging. And I'm sitting here thinking really deeply about your own journey in coming to Sudbury. You all came at different times for probably different reasons. And I just want to understand, what has your inclusion experience been in Sudbury? Like, how does that show up for you? And maybe I'll start with you, Gina. You came here, and I believe you came and did you do any high school in Canada at all? Or did you go straight to?
I went to and did grade 12.
Okay.
Because leaving Zimbabwe at 18 and then just comparing the education systems between Canada and Zimbabwe, my aunt and uncle found it necessary, and it was beneficial for me to integrate into the community. So I had to go back to high school before I proceeded to going to Laurentian. And my experience integrating into the Canadian Sudbury society, to be specific, was nothing short of amazing. And I am truly, truly thankful, because then that shaped my whole learning experience from St. Charles College. I remember there was only like 2 of us, like at that time, that was like 2009, 2 Black girls in the school. But I never felt like I was the only Black person in the school. I don't know if that makes sense to most of you, but like I was so welcomed. I was never made to feel different. And to this day, I am grateful about that. And that's the one thing that draws me to Sudbury.
And I love the fact that you're looking back, you're reflecting and just saying, wait a second, I don't even know if I knew if I was paying attention to what skin tone I was, it sounds like, when you were in high school. What do you think was that magic? Because right now in Sudbury, we have I'll call it an influx, but we have so many immigrants migrating to the city, and maybe it's from people like you just saying, it's so awesome, people are great. But my curiosity is, what was that sweet sauce that people were doing around you that just made you feel the sense of belonging at St. Charles?
You know what? I am trying, like in this moment, I am like literally my mind is back in the hallways at St. Charles College.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Like one of my favorite spots to hang out to, I remember, was like in the chaplain's office. Like that was like my favorite spot. And I got to work in the kitchen just before school. That was like my first job. So like, I think the fact that like, there's 2 ways to this. Like I never felt different because nobody made me feel different. Like you end up feeling different because people point out that you're different, but like I wasn't treated any different from the other school kids. So that made me feel good. And now you're talking about the influx of like other like African people coming in. I remember like this was just like, it was never the community that made me feel different. Then when people started coming in, I was very excited because I had never seen so many of us in the same place, right? But it was never an issue of like, oh, I feel different, or like I'm excluded from stuff, or because of my skin color. And like, that's not to take away from people that have had like not so good experiences. But for me personally, I am grateful that I had a great experience because I had a choice to do the things I wanted to do. The things I didn't want to do, I didn't have to do it. I didn't feel like I didn't need to do certain stuff because of my color or because I came from a certain background, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. I mean, yay, St. Charles College of 2000 and X.
2009.
2009. Gotta look back at all that. The alumni and say you did a good job being good host. But you're making me reflect on myself because I came to Sudbury when I was 12 years old, and I'm not gonna lie, the girls looked so cool, and they would be talking about New Kids on the Block. And I had immigrated from Zimbabwe, and for some reason, I totally was into pop songs, but New Kids on the Block never made it onto the radar. So I remember feeling excluded because I didn't know that band, and it just didn't make any sense to me. But I do want to tap into Shantae, and the reason why I'm tapping into Shantae is she's had a very unique kind of immigration process. So I think right now we're in high school. So what was happening in high school when you came, Shantae, and what was your experience?
Yeah, thank you. I actually had raised my hand because I wanted to comment on what Gina was saying. So just as how Gina was saying that she had a very positive experience and a really good experience, so did I. In high school, high school in Sudbury were one of my best years in my life thus far. I must say at Marymount, just as Gina, I didn't feel left out or different. In fact, just to kind of help you out, Gina, the way, because I saw that you were kind of struggling to kind of explain what was it that made you not feel so different. So let me know if you think you can relate to this. So for me, what it was that my classmates and my friends at Marymount, they were fascinated by my culture. And I was fascinated to learn their culture as well. So it was more of an exploration and getting to know someone, getting to know, oh, you eat goat? Oh, what is that? You know, and oh, you eat curry, you know, this, what is that? And the type of music that we listen to. You know, even when I came here, the way I communicated was different. In Jamaica, we communicate, and I'm sure, you know, all immigrants are aware of this. The way you communicate in your home country is very different than your next country. So when I immigrated, I actually did not have any transition period. I left Jamaica in April of 2013. I left on a Tuesday. I got on the plane, arrived in Montreal on the Wednesday, and by the following Monday, I was starting school bright and early, 8 a.m. at Marymount. So I left Jamaica right away and then hit a different environment, a different friend group, a whole different teacher. Everything was just boom, right away, no transition period. So the way I communicated was different. The food was harsh for me to adapt to at the beginning. I felt as though I would have been nervous in the beginning, but honestly, it was sweet. It was nice. The people at Marymount just made me feel really comfortable. They asked questions about what's Jamaica like? Oh my gosh, it's so hot there. I wish I was there. And I would explain to them, no, you don't wish you were there. It's too hot. You'll melt. You know, appreciate the various seasons. So it's just that exploration piece. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we're getting to know each other, because it wasn't only that they were getting to know my Jamaican culture. It was also that I was conversing with them to learn about the Canadian culture. And also there were other cultural groups at Marymount. You know, we had some Asian students. We actually had one student who she came directly from France. So she as well was sharing. So it was just that whole multicultural experience that made it feel really comfortable, really welcoming, and just fresh. You know what I mean? So let me know, Gina, if you think that that kind of helps you or you can relate to that in a way, because for me,
That did it, Shante, because that's so true, because they were very fascinated.
Yeah.
And it was like they were learning a totally different, like, culture, like, and I brought so much with me, and so I had so much to like, you know, to absorb, and it just kind of, it was reciprocal, so it worked.
Yes.
So yes,
And,
thank you.
You know, the other thing about appreciating diversity, it's not that we are or people should just be forced to learn about a different culture, but it's encouraging people to see the beauty in the different cultures. You know, every culture comes with a different perspective, a different way of thinking, and sometimes, you know, we're stuck in a little box with the way we see the world. And when we have another person who sees their world like this and you bring them together, that box becomes bigger, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger the more you know. You know how they say knowledge is power? Well, knowledge is really power. The more you know, the more you understand how the world is, and you see how much more beautiful the world is. So the more cultural groups you can interact with, the more friends you can make from the various cultures. You know, you know, that's one of the things with the university experience, especially at Laurentian, where they have so many international students. It's awesome to get to see the different cultures that are around. So, you know, even now when I'm at NASM, you know, it's a small medical school. So I went from class sizes of 200, 300 at Laurentian to now my class size is 32. So, you know, the diversity, it's not that diverse, but still, you know, you have that potential and that ability to share your culture with the people around you. So if you keep your mind open and see things like that as an opportunity to share your culture and learn about different cultures, you know, that's how you get to intermingle and make life more fun.
I'm definitely aligned with fun. Fun is why we're here, and we got to live our best lives. And I really want to lean in though on the high school experience and the fact that we're getting all these wonderful new immigrants to Sudbury, and I really want to kind of tackle. I want to dig deeper with Tsitsi as an educator who's seen that in our classrooms. And I do know, I mean, I've spoken to lots of moms, and sometimes I've been in the mall and I've been doing outreach for engineering, which is the discipline in which I work. And sometimes I'll meet, parents that talk about not so positive experiences of their children as they try and immigrate and settle in and go through these radical life changes. And Tsitsi, can you just give us a better understanding of what's happened, what have you observed in the schools, and where are some opportunities for us if we really want everyone to have these amazing idyllic immigration stories that obviously Gina and Shante experienced as young immigrants. Tsitsi, what have you observed, and what are some tips you have for people seeking to make the integration into the education system more inclusive?
Thank you, Teresa. So, like what Gina and Shante were saying, that Gina was saying there was only two of them. I noticed the same thing when I was teaching in Sudbury, right? So one year I walk in a class. Okay, I'll give you an example where my own kids went to. It was just the two of them in the school, the two Black kids. And then, fast forward 3-4 years later, I walk in a class and there's 5, 6, 7 Black kids in school. And then as the years we go today, there is definitely more than 10 in one class, right? So this is a very, very, very big difference from when I started teaching in Sudbury to now. And what I'm realizing a lot is because of the cultural differences, a lot of them are kind of shy, right, to express themselves. And then you have teenagers, because my thing is high school, right? You have teenagers. Teenagers don't like to look silly. Teenagers like to embarrass themselves, right? So you find that a lot of them are in their own little shells, because if I open my mouth and talk, they're not going to understand what I'm saying because I have an accent, right? If I open my mouth to talk, I don't know what this word is called in Canada, but back home we used to call it something else, right? So there's a lot of things that are keeping teenagers from opening up and just talking. So my thing is, when I walk in, what I notice for sure, I know for the longest, I was the only Black teacher in Sudbury for the school board that I was working for. So there was a very big difference when I walk in, especially in a class that has mostly like maybe more than 5 or 2 or even just one Black kid. You walk in and they're looking at you like, oh my God, like a Black teacher, right? And they just want to pour it all out, right? They want to come to me and tell me everything, because I feel like there's that, she's going to understand what we're saying because she probably knows, right? So I had one kid at another school that came to me and she's like, oh, Miss, you're Black. You have brown skin like me. It touched my heart. Like, yes, I am. And the kid just wanted to tell me everything. So I feel like it's that, are they going to relate? How are they going to take it if I tell them how I feel? Do I know? Because when they're looking, when they're quiet, it's not like they don't know what they want or they don't know what to do. But then they're gauging to see, okay, my colleagues, my peers like this, but if I introduce something new, are they going to like it? So what I'm trying to do when I am knocking in all those schools, especially in February for Black History Month, allow our kids to express themselves. Tell them it's okay to talk about, where you come from, teaching them the importance of sharing different cultures and appreciating each other's cultures. We had an experience. Well, Teresa, you were there with me when we put up the flags on the Bridge of Nations. For me, that was a, you're not sure where you stand until something happens, right? So we were not sure where we stood until, Sudbury was like, okay, it is okay. You can come, bring your Zimbabwean flag. I look at it every day up to today. I think that was 2008, if I remember very well.
Yeah.
I think it was around 2008 when we went and put up those flags on the Bridge of Nations.
Yeah.
I look at the Zimbabwean flag that is next to the Canadian flag every
Yeah.
time I drive past there. Because
Yeah.
for me, that was okay, you are welcome to come and share your experiences. You are welcome to come and talk about, where you've been, where you're trying to get to, and how you can get there. We will help you with the how we can get there. So this is what I was talking about with one of the school principals in Sudbury.
Mhm.
And then when we were talking, he said to me, "Okay, think about your own son," right? This was at his school. He said, think about your own son. Do you think when he walks through these doors, he sees himself?
Mm. That's so powerful.
For me, that was, it took me like, a minute to think about it. And I thought, I was like, how does he see himself? Does he see himself? And I said, okay, do you mean he walks in and maybe he sees another Black person, or he walks in, and sees something that reminds him of maybe Zimbabwe because he's been to Zimbabwe and he knows Zimbabwe? And he said, no. Do you think he's walking in and saying, oh, these are my people, right? They're welcoming me. They're happy that I'm here this morning, right? So that's when I thought about it. I was like, this is a very powerful question. And, this is something to think about as an educator, as a teacher. So he said, the reason why I'm talking to you about this is because I see you trying very much, right? Black History Month, I made them put posters up in the hallways. I made the kids, I asked them to make a poster about a famous Black person they knew. And we also had some of the decorations up at the Afro-Heritage Gala. So I took those posters and I posted them in the whole hallway, the whole school. There was a Black poster by a famous Black person and all this. And he was like, well, the reason why I ask is because I see you trying, right? You want to see yourself when you walk in the hallways. You want these kids to feel like this is where I belong. So, it's one of those things where I try so much. Whenever I walk in a school, I know for sure there's a good chance I'm going to be the only Black teacher and I'm going to have like 500 kids come to me. Lunchtime, I would go and sit in a room with some of the kids. Like they would go sit in their own room. I would go and sit with them and say, so why are we sitting here? But because they feel like we connect, right? So connection, how can we make let them know that okay, you're welcome, you are included, you don't have to seclude yourself because you feel like you don't belong. So when you as a child feel like okay, I am safe here, I feel like when I walk in they feel safe. Not that I'm saying they do not feel safe, but this is just something that even if you go to a friend's house, you kind of stick to your mom, right? If you're a child, you stick to your mom until she says, okay, you're safe, go and play. So it's the same thing in the education system. I found that a lot of the kids, just from talking to them, assuring them, and even having meetings with the school principals and actually showing them that no, we see you, we're trying to help you. How can we help? I think the big question that should be asked is, how can we help, right? Especially in the schools, because these are different people from different cultures, different backgrounds. When you ask how you can help, they brighten up and they're like, oh my God, I have so many ideas. Where do I start? And you say, okay, take your time. The time is there. There's no rush, right? If you cannot finish what you're saying, these people that are coming after you who are in the exact same boat as you are, right? So
and Tsitsi, if I can interrupt, is you've said a few things there that I really want to tease out and go a little bit deeper on. I mean, first of all, I was saying to people, I think I've just spent the week crying. This just like just being emotional, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I don't know about you, Jamie and Vivian, people on the call, France and others. When Tsitsi talked about step one, let's talk about the flags for a moment. I mean, will we ever drive by the flags again the same? I know I love the flags, but I didn't know why. And if I look deeper, I tell you, and this might not be the same experience for everyone, but it is true. When you drive by the flag of nations, no matter what else is happening, whatever drama is happening in the world, there is something welcoming about seeing the Canadian flag, the Zimbabwean flag. I mean, so many flags are in there, and this is why symbols matter. And the second thing I want to tease out is when Sissy mentioned principal who said, you seeing yourself represented, and I thought, what a beautiful statement. Wow, how profound that your principal, who clearly, and the other thing about it is that clearly your principal is not, it's not a Black male, it's not a Black female, it's somebody who's saying, you know what, I see you. I see that there isn't representation here, and I think representation matters. So I just want to applaud whoever that principal is, wherever they are, and just commend them for that. I mean, feel free to share the name in the chat, Sitsi, if you want to call them out for that awesomeness. I'm guessing who I think it is, but I don't want to say it if it's not, because that'll be embarrassing. But I'm super impressed by that. And then the third thing I really want to go into here, and I really want to lean into Kelu, because Kelu has little kids who are in our educational system today. And Kelly, I want to hear from you. As you're a mother, you're an immigrant, you've come from a different country, you've got these little precious humans in our school system. How do you feel hearing about how representation matters to your children? And can you give us a little bit of what has their experience been in the educational system?
Okay, so I have an 8-year-old son. He's in grade 3 right now. And, things happen in school, but I do my own part as a parent to educate him, like, look, we are in a different country. He spent the first, I think, 5.5 years of his life in Nigeria. I come from Nigeria. So it's totally different. And when he came here, the education system is really different from what it is in Nigeria. He loved it. I still have a video from his first day of school. He really loved it. And I asked him, what do you like about this place? As a 5-year-old, he said, oh, there's just so much toys in the room to play with. There's so much fun stuff to do. They go swimming, they go to the playground, and all those things are, well, maybe they have some of them in Nigeria in the education system, but not as strategic as they are here in Canada. So the teaching system is quite different. And then in terms of inclusion, it feels safe, because we talk about this all the time. It feels safe. He doesn't see, he's a child, he's innocent. I tell people, I said, it's what you put in a child's brain that will stick to it. If you tell a child like, oh, white people are bad people, he would believe you. But if you leave him alone and let him explore and let him identify what is bad from what is right, he would probably make an innocent decision, which will be like, oh, everyone is nice, everyone is kind, because children are innocent. So in terms of that aspect, I don't have any issues with my son feeling excluded in class. He feels a lot included. But for me, my own personal experience, when I started college, I went to Cambridge College. I come from Nigeria, and the education system in Nigeria, it's really, really shaky. I'm sorry to all Nigerians who are on this platform, but I'm sure a lot of them will agree with me. So I was so hard on myself before I started, like, oh God, when I was in Nigeria, I didn't do so well in school. I didn't have good grades. I didn't perform well. So now I'm giving myself a second chance to prove to myself that I can do better. I took it so hard on myself. But when I started college at Cambridge College, I realized that I was just being hard on myself for nothing. And then I realized that nobody is actually a dullard. It's just how they teach you that matters. If you have someone who teaches you with a particular strategy, you would understand it. I believe everyone is actually brilliant. Everyone is a genius if they have the right teaching system. So I have a short story, and for me, it was the other way around. When I got to class, I was the only Black person, and there were tons of Indians, and there were just 3 Canadians in the class. So I had a very bad experience with an Indian when I visited the United Kingdom some years back on holiday. And that one experience with one Indian changed my perception about Indians generally. I had a very bad impression about them just from one experience. So imagine me getting to a class full of about 30 to 35 Indians. I was like, oh no, this is not happening to me. But I realized that you cannot conclude or make an assumption of a particular ethnicity based on one experience that you have with one individual. And I took a course in that class called self-care. And self-care is all about, not just about taking care of yourself, but showing yourself so much love that you can give so much back to other people. And that opened my eyes, gave me a new perception, like we are all one. So I thought to myself, how can I be a better person to this set of people? I realized that they struggled a lot with the English language. And I took it upon myself to be like an assistant teacher. So I created a group on WhatsApp, and there I tutor them, I help them, I assist them with their assignments. And it makes me feel good as a person. And that is my own way of feeling included, and also making them feel included in the class. Because every time we come to English class, I noticed at some point that they wouldn't come to class anymore. They weren't feeling like they belonged there. So I created a WhatsApp group, I called them together, and I felt good that I could help, that I could provide additional support as a student to other students. So, and it's been an amazing journey. I didn't feel like I was the only Black person in the class. Nobody ever made me feel that way as well. As a matter of fact, I felt like I gave more value being a Black person to other people in the class.
Wow, you just, oh my goodness, I'm getting goosebumps listening to your story, because there's just so much in there. You're blowing my mind, and I'm gonna tell you why. So my visceral reaction when you said that you had obviously a negative experience with one individual from a certain ethnicity, and whoever you were at that time, the person you were back then had internalized it to the point where, I mean, frankly speaking, when you associate behavior with a race, in that moment you're racist, right? Like in that moment, you've basically become racist. And for you to be so vulnerable with the people on the call today to say, and there was bad experience, I come to Canada, I'm in a class, I'm surrounded racially by people that I assume I won't have anything to do with because of this race, and me must not get along. And for you to go through this catharsis of self-loving so you can give love, only to recognize that, you know, you are one. I mean, honestly, I don't know if anybody else is not getting goosebumps, because when I first heard that, my body was at a visceral reaction, because I thought, no, don't ever judge anyone because of their skin tone. It doesn't make sense. And thank you for that vulnerable share, because I know that today there are people who have gone through that, who have, you know, and it's such a powerful share, Kelu, because not everybody can admit why they don't like a certain race. And your experience, I really hope people here are listening to be able to tell their family and friends and say, listen, you know, that stereotype you have about that those type of people, any of your race, it's not real. It's contained to your experience with the individual. So thank you for that extremely vulnerable share, Kelu, and I love it. It's powerful, and it's funny, you know. I just want to call out the Indian people in general, because I just think that I don't know about you, and I don't know if it's just me, but when you become friends with Indian people, you fall in love with their culture. And I don't know what it is, but I'm sure people are also falling in love with other cultures as well. But I love the Indian culture. I am fascinated with what it's doing to the Sudbury area.
And the food.
And I want to call out the food, because some of us we have very good Indian friends, and they just they feed us and we love it. And thank you for that share, Kelu. You're a rock star for that. I want to dig into Shantae, because I know Shantae is, you know, I want to dig into something that you might not be expecting me to ask you right now, but I really want to dig into the fact that, you know, when you were on your journey to become a doctor, you know, I knew you, and let me tell you, this girl is not only the annoying thing about Shantae, let me tell you what's annoying about Shantae. Not only is she an athlete, not only is she doing some other business stuff we'll talk about later, But this lady knows how to interact with different ethnicities and cultures, and she knows how to keep digging and persevering. But what I'm most fascinated about when I heard you were going to go to medical school was, I was like, what impact is she going to make as a person who's going to be so representative of so many? Because I want to know at NOSM, what is the diversity there? What, like, are there many black people? Are there many ethnicities? What's your particular experience, and what contribution can you do around inclusion and just being, you know, as a Black woman, what contribution are you hoping to make in the medical field?
That's a very good question, Teresa. To be honest with you, in terms of the diversity at NOSM, in terms of the representation of Black people or Indian people or any other cultural group, I'm particularly not interested in seeing how diverse it is. What I'm interested in seeing is how open people are to diversity and how open-minded they are. I don't care if I'm the only Black person there. I really don't. And I don't care if there's one Indian person or one Asian person. What I care about is the personality of people, how they value others, how they see people. So when I got accepted into med school, and actually even before medical school, it was a principle that I've been developing in myself, is learning to love people, irregardless of their skin color, irregardless of their background, regardless of what they look like. I don't see people as Black, white, Indian, this, that. That aspect of their life is their culture. But when it comes down to how I interact with people, it doesn't matter to me what they are. And when I step into a workforce or into a hospital or into my classroom, it doesn't impact me that I'm the only Black person. What impacts me is, how are my classmates talking to others? How are my classmates interacting with others? How are they making people feel when they talk to them? When they come into, I'm going to use the setting of a clinical experience, okay? Just because that's what I'm learning. What I'm particularly interested in is, how are my classmates and myself making patients feel when they come in to see us? So to answer your question in regards to when I started medical school, what kind of impact do I think I can have in the community? The impact that I think I can have is, I want to inspire people to love unconditionally. I want to inspire people to see the beauty in loving others. I want to help people to understand the network and the benefit of just having a positive interaction with a person, no matter what their skin color is. So I'm not particularly interested in the statistics of, oh, you know, Shante is the only Black person at the Sudbury campus in NOSM. It doesn't matter if I'm the only Black person, because
I'm sitting here thinking, are you? Are you, Shante? Are you? Okay.
It doesn't matter. It really does not matter, because I'll give you a practical example. If I was living in some very, very rural community, the chances are I will likely be the only Black person. In the same way, if a white person moves to a very rural community in Jamaica, they will likely be the only white person. So that shouldn't change how people speak with each other. That shouldn't change how people interact with each other. It doesn't matter that you're the only Black person or the only white person or the only colored person. That shouldn't be a person's on their front vision to see you. What should be on a person's vision to see you is, wow, Teresa, nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. Oh, wow, Titsy, nice to meet you. You know, that sharing, that openness to see life as more than just a human being, but more of like an experience. So how I feel I can impact, how I feel that I can impact my medical journey, my peers and my preceptors and the wonderful physicians that are teaching me and the senior physicians that I'm learning from. What I think I can bring to the table to them is that fresh perspective of seeing things beyond just the immediate physical, but go deeper into, you know, this person is 25 years old. There's 25 years of experience that this person has. What can I learn from her? This physician right here is a 60-year-old on their way to being retired neurosurgeon. Oh my God, he must have so many stories. Let me hear some of them. What can I learn from you? You know, I'm 24, you're 60. What can I learn from you? So for me personally, I know I'm blunt with my response when I say it doesn't matter to me that I'm what color the person is, but honestly, that comes straight from my heart because that's what I believe in. I don't look at the statistics. I don't look at color statistics. What I look at is how people treat people, and that's what I care about. If I'm interacting with someone and I notice that they're having a nasty attitude to another person, I don't shun them or think that they're a bad person. It must mean that they just don't know how to show love. And it's why I wrote in the chat something that Kelu had mentioned is you show yourself love so that you can show others love. Because if you don't understand how to love yourself, there's no way you'll be able to show love to another person. If you don't understand how to take time and reflect and think about what drives you, what are your passions, how can you give back to your community, where do you fit in? If you don't take time to kind of examine that, how do you expect to interact positively with another person? So if I see someone, let's say, as you said, what kind of impact can I have in my medical journey? When I meet people who have attitudes that I think can be improved, I do just that. I try to help them to see how they can improve it. I talk to them. Actually, I'm more drawn to people when they are have a lower type of a vibe. I'm drawn to them because I feel as though I can help them to tap into that positivity within them. So for me, that's what drives me. That's what I look at. That's how I think I can give back in the community. Statistics, it doesn't really sit in my brain. But
So I'll be the
is love.
I'll be the statistician in the group and
Sure,
really
go
like
ahead.
I want to tease into why I was asking the question. So one of the things I've been loving online these days has there's a young, I want to say Nigerian, maybe Dr. Remy or somebody can put up their hand if I'm, was it a Nigerian? Some kid, some doctor, some medical student, he noticed the lack of representation when it came to medical illustrations, when it came to Black people. And he started these illustrations that went super viral. So I'm going to share that for me, when I saw Shante go into the medical industry, why I got excited was I was like, you know what if there's more doctors who understand that Tressa has braids, how to deal with braids, how to deal with this. So when I talk about representation in any industry, that's kind of where I'm leaning into and teasing into. But since he's speaking of that and speaking as a teacher, I know you encounter lots of books. Like recently there was a lawyer on LinkedIn who posted her daughter reading these little books, and it happened to be it was for Black History Month. So there's all these books with with Black authors, and I thought, interesting. When I grew up, I can tell everyone on the call, I did not think I picked up one book that, and keeping in mind I grew up in Zimbabwe. Guess what my first book was? Snow, Snow, Go Away. It was from England, and there was no snow in Zimbabwe. And my representation was usually Cinderella, and it was a lot of little white faces. And now as I've gotten older and I see parents, the parents of today saying, well, my children, I want them to read representation and see themselves. I want to hear from Tsitsi, from you, just as an educator, what's your perspective on diverse literature in the classroom for students and even as an adult?
Okay, so I feel like lately, I think it's because there's so many immigrant families that have come to Canada, like in the last few years. I feel like there's a lot of people pushing for diversity in literature, especially in classes. Like I know for myself, when I was in university, most of my books that we were reading or using them from some well-known African writers. We had TED Talks from Africans. And I feel like there's a lot of push about that because you see, it doesn't help to sort of act like, okay, it's not there, but you have 8 out of 15 kids in class that are Black. So at some point you have to stop and try and cater to each and every single one of them, right? So I have a little story. I was just thinking about it when Shante was talking about skin color and how it doesn't bother her. I am the same way too. I always tell my kids, especially when I meet new kids in class and they're like, oh, we feel like so-and-so doesn't like us, or we feel like teacher is like this. I always say to them, how is your, right? Racism not that this is, do not quote me. I'm just saying how I feel about
Well,
it.
you're being recorded, so don't worry, we're quoting you. So go ahead. We're all on camera, so I don't know, code, no codes.
So how I feel about it is how you receive it also matters, right?
Okay.
Sometimes you come with that mind frame that, oh my God, there's racism. They don't like me. They don't like me. So even if somebody says just one thing, it
Yeah.
has become racism. So for me, it's all in me, how I'm taking it, right? If you come to me and say something that I do not like, something racial, I look at you and I feel sorry for you because this is something that is in you. Yes, you feel it, but this is your feeling. It's not my feeling. So I went to a teacher. She was not racist at all. But I think, at the back of your mind, sometimes you do things. So my daughter was in, I'm gonna say kindergarten, and they were painting something, and she said, and I always tell this story because I still think about it. Still, this is maybe 7-8 years ago. So she said to them, now we're going to use the skin color, right? Take a crayon of the skin color, right? So I'm confused, right? Because I am standing in class. She's the only Black little girl in there, and everybody else is Caucasian. So she takes the peach color, beige, and she starts to draw. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, okay, clearly here racism is in my head because I'm the one that's seeing the difference in skin color, right? But then I went and I talked to the teacher, and I say to the teacher, okay, this is just to get you to think about it because I know you do not mean anything and you probably did not even think about it. If she had taken a brown color and started coloring, were you going to say this is wrong? Because you said take the skin color. So maybe we want to change some of the things. They're harmless. Some of the things we say are totally harmless, but you don't know how it is being received, right? By the next kid. So my lesson to the school kids that I try to teach them is, yes, racism is there. There are people who are out there to just make other people feel bad. I could call them bullies, right? Maybe they're doing the same thing to the next person who's not Black, right? So you have to look and see, am I just dealing with a case of a bully, or is this person really targeting me because of my skin color? And when that happens, how is your attitude? How are you receiving it? Are you taking it and, just backing down and saying, yes, I am Black, or stand up for yourself, right? You are proud of who you are. Once you start being shy and not responding when somebody says something, then you've accepted it. You have been defeated. Yes, that person has become racist towards you because you have accepted it. It's just like anything else. If you don't accept it, it can happen to you.
Yeah, but one of the things I really want to lean into is there's two things. I mean, thank you for sharing the story about the crayons and skin tone, color, and it is powerful. And I really love the fact that Crayola came out with a bunch of crayons that were different skin tones, and there you go. So it's something that was just recognized that, hey, this is a little bit of a blind spot. Let's fix it as a society. I don't know if you've also seen that even Barbies now, you've got Barbies that are in wheelchairs, you've got Barbies with different types of texture hair. So the world is definitely waking up to this. But I really want to tease out a comment that you made, Tsitsi, about how you interacted with the teacher and how you called her in. There's something called calling in, where you're not calling somebody out. When you call somebody out, you're really accusatory, and I don't think you're leaving room for a relationship. But when you call someone in, you're really pulling them in and saying, hey, do you know? And I do appreciate how you did that. But I want to lean into something that Shante said earlier, and it was really around this notion of self-love. Okay, and being love, giving love. And I really want to lean into Gina, because Gina, besides being somebody who's going to school for something else, being a mom, being a nurse, non-practicing, I think she mentioned she's not practicing. I want to hear more about the blogging series that you have, and Imperfection Lives Here. Tell us, what is that all about? And we're all ladies. There's a lot of ladies on the call, lots of different genders on the call today. But what is your thinking about how do we show ourselves love, especially sometimes when we're dealing with, like these topics that can be uncomfortable, conversations about race, conversations about fitting in, and generally COVID. And yeah, with your view of imperfection leaves here, please help us out understand.
I got really excited when Shante started talking about love because that's what it's all about for us. So I get excited because the one thing that I am so comfortable in, and that's the one thing I try to teach my own daughter, because then I'm looking at a world that she has to grow up in. So it's okay to be different. That's the one thing that we have to embrace, that we are in a world with like different races. So there's whites, there's Indians, there's this. So it's just like flowers. We're all different, but we're all beautiful in our own way. So we have to embrace ourselves. And the one thing that where comes the imperfection comes in is that society has kind of set goals like if you do this, then this is perfect. If you look like this is perfect. But there's absolutely nothing like perfection. This is what we have set as human beings. What you just aim is that I'm gonna be the best version of me. I'm gonna love me and show up as me every day. And I'm gonna do the very best for myself so I can be better. Because now if I love myself, then it pours out of me. It's easy for me to love the next person. It's easy for me to show love, then they can learn love from me. So that is like what we do. So for us, we mainly focus on women. We do love men, but our thing is mainly women. So as women, and through our own experiences, that mostly growing up, we're put against each other. We're like almost competing against each other. And that's what we're trying to break down and say, hey, we can form a community. We can foster an environment where we love each other, where we can support each other, where I can learn. Like today, most of my part that I played today was listening. So from listening to Shantae, from listening to Titi, from listening to you, Teresa, I'm soaking it in and I'm listening because I've allowed myself to say, hey, we're not competing. I'm learning and I'm growing and this is awesome. So that is what we do. And then we do that through just forming communities. We have book clubs, and book clubs, most people think we're reading books, but it's like you have community, and with community then you have everything because we have the same goal, which is like, let's do our very best for ourselves. Let's show up as ourselves, and then everything else just kind of overflows from there.
You know what? You're making me think of something that is a huge passion of mine. One of the beauties about being immigrants is for many of us, we're immigrants to Sudbury or to the country. It's this idea that you get to be friends with people of different ethnicities. That is one thing I love Canada for. And I just want to lean into the fact that one of the challenges I find about our pursuit of loving each other is how segregated we are sometimes without intending it. I think I can challenge many people on the call today and say, if you look at the friend groups that you associate with, how diverse are those friend groups? And, I was talking to somebody about that, about how I want to learn more about the Indigenous culture, but I don't really have too many friends who are Indigenous, and I just want to tease that out. I really want to go a little bit deeper here because I see on the call today we are a diverse group of people and different backgrounds, and I just want to hear what are some of your ideas between us ladies. How do we expand our friend groups? Because I do see a lot of people moving in the same circles with people with similar hair texture to them or from the same educational background. And I think, I don't know, it's too bad I can't really say by show of hands, but I think many people will understand what I mean. We're not in university anymore, right? Like we can't just walk down the halls and be like, hey, you're from France, let's be friends. We're now in society and we're working now. And I just want to hear, Tsitsi, what's your point of view? How can we as adult women now start to make interracial relationships? Because let's face it, when we talk to each other, we can build community, like what Gina was saying.
Thank you, Teresa. So I think this comes from a point where it actually comes with growth, right? So if somebody has spent so much, like I know there's a big difference between new immigrants, medium immigrants, and old immigrants, right? By that, I mean, if like myself, I've been here 21 years. So, it comes with time. It's not something that you just wake up and say, today I'm going to be friends with so-and-so of a different ethnicity, or today I'm going to be friends with so-and-so of different ethnicity. This comes with having experienced so many things, right? You have experienced so many things. Now you know how to deal with this person, you know how to deal with that person. But what I can tell you is everything starts with tolerance. Everything starts with understanding and accepting, right? You understand and accept that everybody's different, and you want to go and see what makes that person different, right? I like my Zimbabwean food, but I'm going to meet Shante from Jamaica. I am going to meet so-and-so from Canada. What is it about their food that makes them special? For me, I find food is the number one conversation starter for different ethnicities, right?
So you're saying, so Sissy, what I'm hearing you say is that find those things that are common grounds, tease them out, learn a little bit more about each other through food. So I'm going to go to Kelu. Kelu was having a little bit of issues with her technology. Kelu, if you're with us, I'd love to know your tips on how we can make more interracial friendships. Because I tell you, it's so easy to be friends with people who look like you. I mean, you can just right away, you know, communicate about hair, about this, but let's challenge ourselves here. How do we, and you give your very vulnerable, imperfect story about your experience with the Indian culture and whatnot. And I really am curious, how do you bridge the friendship gap there?
You see, life is so short, and there's really no big deal about having one clique of person. I've never been a clique of person. I've never been someone who does clique. Oh, this is my clique, that is my clique. I know a certain set of people who call me a free spirit. That's what they used to call me back home in the university, like, you're a free spirit. I just relate with people as they are. I'm always open. I've learned to accept people for who they are. And I've also learned to differentiate friendship from acquaintances. You know, you can be an acquaintance and we don't have to be friends. And that doesn't mean that we are still not cool. We still have this good vibes, this good energy around us. So we accept people for who they are. We have an open mind. I've really had a mentality shift since I came to Canada. And I think one major factor that really triggered that is my education and the fact that I met other people from different cultures. And you know what? I love Indian food, and I've also learned to cook some of their food as well. And I love samosa and spring rolls. That are like my favorite, although they're the most easiest to cook anyways, but they're my favorite as well. Anyways, so have an open mind. Be a good person. It doesn't take you anything to meet someone at the bus stop today and say, oh, hi, how are you? My name is Kelu. What's your name? You don't need to exchange phone numbers, but the fact that you even said hello, or I like your hair, or I like your jewelry, or whatever, just give a compliment and be kind. Kindness is a superhero thing. It takes nothing to be kind. Just show a love, show kindness to people, because everybody is going through stuff, even though they don't talk about it, even though they don't carry it on their face. So a little smile goes a long way. I don't think we should put too much boundaries in making an inclusion of multicultural, making an inclusion of people from different cultures. I think there's a lot of space to take everyone, to accommodate everyone. That's my own impression.
Awesome. And you know, like, as you're speaking, I'm really passionate about people doing things intentionally. And you know, I hear a lot of talk on the call here about belonging and fostering belonging and self-love. To me, those are very intentional things that you do. And I think, Gina, you would agree that self-love doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you have to develop a discipline with and really tease into and do. And I'd like to hear from Shante in terms of when it does come to friendships and making sure that you're not putting yourself in a box, what are some tips that you would have for people to break out of the paradigm of just being around the same type of people all the time?
Well, in order to break out of that paradigm, first of all, you have to figure out what do you want. Until you figure out what you want for yourself and what drives you, what motivates you, then you won't be intentional about the people that you have around you. You'll have all kinds of people around you, and that will come in the form of people who will actually not inspire you to become who you want. So it's basically like this. You have to have a vision for your life. okay? Because without a vision, what are you doing? Like, your actions are for what reason? You have no vision for your life. You have no goal. So therefore, your actions every day, what are they for? And in the same way, if you have no vision for your life, you won't be cautious or observant of the type of people that you have around you. So in terms of making friends or having acquaintances or things like that, the first thing you have to do is figure out you. You know, you can spend time and, oh, you know, this person helps me with that and this person's helping me with that. But at the end of the day, you'll keep repeating the same cycle. You'll keep having friends and then removing friends and then getting new friends. And that cycle will continue and continue because you have not figured out a consistency in your own life. So therefore, if you've not figured out consistency in your own life, how do you expect to have a consistency with others around you? The first thing you have to do is spend time to reflect on yourself, find out who you are. That's a very important question. I don't think people ask themselves enough. They've not explored it enough, is who are you? Not what do you look like? What do you smell like? What do you like to eat? Who are you on a deeper level? Until you can explore that, you may not have the answer right now, because even me, myself, I still am exploring that question. But the more you spend time to explore that question, the more you'll find yourself, you know, navigating or narrowing your friend group to be around people who kind of inspire you in that path that you're taking. So that's the way I see it, is you have to kind of figure out your vision, and then your vision will naturally integrate people with similar visions around you.
And you know, this is something that you know, it makes me laugh a little bit, because when I was in high school, you know, my dad would always say, like, Teresa, if you play with pigs, you're going to end up smelling like a pig, right? And to this day, I say that to my children. It's like, you know, if there's certainly certain things you can escape, but if you're in a pigsty, at some point the pig smell is going to rub off on you. You're not Superman or Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Or, right?
Can I make a comment on that? Can I make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, most kids have heard that. I've heard that. But I'll tell you this, when I was a child, even in my teenage years, that information went here and out. Or it just basically was more of like a rod over my head. My parents would be like, okay, I can't hang up that person because my parents says no. Because you still have not dived into the deeper question as, who are you? What do you want? So what I think you have to encourage people to do, or especially children, is to explore that question from a young age, because the older you get, the harder it becomes, because the more experiences, the more trauma you accumulate over time as you get older. And then it gets harder to kind of dive deep into that question. From a younger age, that's why you have to groom kids to kind of explore themselves, try different things. That's what, you know, when parents kind of force kids down one path because the parent wants them to, let's say, for example, you must be a doctor or you must be an engineer. You're limiting that child to your own expectations. That child may also have other expectations in their own life. They were actually born with something on the inside of them. Who knows? They could be the next art painter or something, make millions and
yeah, the next Oprah or the next
exactly.
Who knows? But I want to tease something out, because we're running out of time. And I just want to give you a moment, the people who are in the call here, to please put a question or two in the chat for us, so that, you know, it's not a one-sided conversation. And I love what Shante said about, you know, know thyself, like know yourself first. But I do want people in the audience here, give us a question or two. We'd love to hear from you. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just do a quick round table with the people, with the panelists, to say, hey, guess what? We are gathered here because of Black History Month. That is what's happening today. And why Black history? So I'm going to start with Gina. In your perspective, what is the, hey, are you saying, why did you ask me to go first? I saw that body language. She's like, Teresa, why? Yes, you. So the question I have for Gina right now is, Gina, we're in Black History Month. Why is it important? If your daughter came up to you and said, Mom, what is this all about? What's the point? Is it even necessary? Give me your viewpoint.
For us to be here, right? For us to sit here, and this comes from somebody who says, I have so much respect for the people that were here before us, for the people that had different experiences than myself. And I always say this, for me personally, I'm able to track my history right down to where my grandparents are buried. And I'm able to show my daughter that. But there are people that were taken away and they cannot trace it. And those people, because they were here before us and they did what they had to do. And for us to be here, somebody laid the path. And for us to be comfortable today, for me to enjoy the things that I enjoy, for us to be having these conversations, there is somebody who did not have the privilege to sit here and talk to us because they did the work for me to be able to be here. So I tell my daughter the importance that we're celebrating Black History today is because there is somebody who fought a good fight for me to sit here.
I love it. I love that. I love that so much because you know, you're really digging into the essence of what is Black history. And I really implore us all to take time to get a little educated about what did that sacrifice look like that has paved the doors open for us. Tsitsi, what in your perspective, we're here, what's the point of Black History Month? What does it mean for you?
So for me, I will go to what I used to tell my kids. I'm saying used because I want to change that, right? I always tell them, okay, you're Black. It is what it is. We're in Canada. You have to put in the extra work compared to your friends that are white, compared to your friends that are not Black. So you have to put in extra work. You have to prove yourself more. So we're here today because I want to go back and take back that statement, right? I want to go back and tell them you're equal. You can go there with your own diploma, with your own degree and say, I am looking for a marketing job, and they will look at you and say, you got the job, right? So I do not want to see kids where we have to give them those lessons that, well, because you're Black, you have to put in the extra work to be seen. You have to work extra hard to be seen, right? This is the same thing. Do you see yourself in society, right? So I want our kids to be able to fit in. I don't want our kids to fight extra hard just to be seen. I want them to go out there and say, I am here to get my job that I deserve, without them thinking some other way that maybe my white friend is going to get it more than I do.
Wow. Okay. So you're basically, it's this for you, Black History Month is that hope. You know, I feel like we're talking like Martin Luther King wise, where it's like, okay, there's a hope, right? There's a hope for this future where everybody's belonging is fostered, equity is in the workplace. Yeah, no, it's a very interesting reflection. Kelu, I know I didn't get to this because of some technical issues, but I know you're a businesswoman. I know you have this amazing business where, you know, Kelu does cleaning and you really are giving into your community. You know, I wonder, as you go out into the community as a businesswoman, and maybe your company is flagging to people that it's Black History Month, why is it that important for you to have this month in Canada, and what do you think about it?
Okay, so Black History Month is a very important month for me, and I believe it's the acceptance of our culture and our heritage. And just like Gigi said, it's where we are coming from and the people who paved the way for us to be here. So I would count myself privileged to be here in this country, especially, and to be able to even create my own business. I am into cleaning, and I've grown so much that I've been able to also produce my own cleaning products, which is strictly organic. I've learned so much from a lot of people from different cultures, and I've been able to put all the ideas together to become environmentally conscious and friendly. And that's why all our products are organically produced, because I really appreciate the fact that I'm in a growing economy, and the economy is so good, and I do not want to tarnish it by using very harsh products. So I create my own products. So that's it. Yeah, that's what Black History Month is all about for me, to accept myself, to celebrate my heritage as a Black person, and to acknowledge the fact that I am in the midst of other people from different cultures, and that we are all one. Yes, we may be Black in terms of skin tone, but as an individual and as a collective group of people, we are all equal, and we should all enjoy the same benefits.
Thank you so much, Kelu. Shante, we're here, as we say, for Black History Month. What is your reflection and what does Black History Month mean for you?
My answer, to be honest with you, I'm still reflecting on my answer. And the reason why I say that is because I feel as though it's wonderful that we have this month to remember, as Gina was saying, the historical events that happened and our ancestors, they went through so much, and it took a lot of strength, motivation, and dedication to get to where we are today. But in the same way that we have Black History Month, where it's a month dedicated towards, learning and sharing the Black culture, I would love to see other months with other cultural groups as well. That's something that I want to talk about, maybe on a different time, but it's just something I've been reflecting about, where it would be nice, it's wonderful that we're sharing our culture and we have a month dedicated to sharing the Black history and the Black culture. But there's other cultural groups who also have a very decorated historical context. There's other cultural groups, even in Canada, all over the world, that has had histories of oppression, histories of harshness and hardship that they had to overcome. And just as how we can share ours and educate people about ours, it would be great to learn about the others as well, and to actually have months dedicated towards learning about those other cultures as well. So for me, Black History Month is wonderful and it's great, yes, but I would love to see the other cultural groups be similarly represented in the same way.
Everyone, I just want to thank everyone who took time today to join us, and please stay in touch. I hope that some of you are on LinkedIn. My name is in the chat, moderator Teresa Yameze. If you want to put my name in the chat, somebody, let's add each other on LinkedIn. Let's stay in touch. I know for many of us, it's difficult to find opportunities where you can actually meet people of different cultures. You can live in Sudbury for 20 years, and I think Vivienne will probably attest to this. It's very easy to live in this community and never be friends with a Black woman, right? But we want to create space for each other to have diverse friendships. So with that, I'm quickly looking at the chat here, and I just want to really thank everyone who is commenting. And I just want to tell you that I love the city, and we are in one of the best cities in Canada, and we are privileged to have politicians who are, we got all these, liberals, NDPs, conservatives. Like I said, I love my politicians because you're in service to us. And I just want to thank you for fostering belonging. Your presence is not only symbolic, but I really feel a deep sense of allyship in you. And I say that because it's not easy to be in all these different meetings and meeting all types of different people. So just know that we appreciate your service. And to all the friends who made it into the call today, I want to tell you, I see you and we thank you. And on behalf of Afro-Heritage and, recognizing our founder, Dr. Remy, who was in here listening, I'm just wondering, what does she think about all this? I'm very curious to hear your feedback, just like a mom figure. You're like, did mom like this? Did we do okay? But I just want to recognize you because you're on the call today. And Charles, who has been in the background, you probably know him, my brother. I don't know if his camera is on, but we really appreciate you for being in the background, letting people into the room. And on behalf of Afro-Heritage, which Shante is the president of the Afro-Heritage Association, future Dr. Robinson there, and Sissy sits on the board as well. You have our sincere thank you, and please spread the word that we are looking to be friends of the community, and we're looking to really grow. And like Shante said, it's all about love. I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's a very wonderful concept. And as far as Gina said, we gotta love each other, and Kelu has echoed that. So again, good night, good thanks, and we really, I want to be like a musician, eh? I love you, folks. I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart.
You are what makes it everything.
I love you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Happy Black History Month. Okay.
Teresa, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work.
Thank
Thanks for everything. Good job, and all the best to everybody.
Thank you for opening the doors. And thank you. Good night, everyone. Take care.